Hi, I'm Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk. This is a bonus video to go on to the series that I was doing on how to build a website in Umbraco. I did say that it was finished, but I've been writing some code lately on how to do a more advanced searching in Umbraco. So I've done a blog post and I thought I'd do a video just to show you how to implement that onto your site. So what I'm going to do is implement it onto the site I'm building for my mother-in-law. And also I just thought it would be good for you to see what problems you might face if you implement it, but what are the benefits of using this code, so you can use it on your projects and see how easy and reusable it is and how we can adapt it to do other things with it. So this is the website I'm doing for my mother-in-law, so we're adding a search onto this. This is the blog post that I did this week on Monday. Had some teething problems with the code, but I managed to get it all sorted, and I've done so. You've got different sections to the blog post telling you where to go to for the different bits of code, but if you implement all of these items, so the 4 models, the 3 views, the 1 controller and the helper, if you follow all of that, then what you'll end up is, this is a preview of it in action. So you'll end up with it searching. When you're typing, it will start searching at 300 milliseconds after your last letter that you typed. It will do it really fast using a Lucene search engine, so it's like one of the fastest ways to search, and it's not just in Umbraco, that's on other, it's a .NET implementation of Lucene, so it's really powerful. And so if you want to skip down to the different things, you can just click on the menu and you can go through the post, just taking all of this. What we need to do is replace the namespace of where I've got codeshare.library. You'd want to replace it with your namespace, so whether you're using a separate library project or you've got it within your web project, just make sure you replace that as you do these. The different models, let me just explain these before we dive into implementing it. So the search view model, this basically, it holds what you looked for, what document type aliases you want to look for. So say if you only want to look for blog posts, then you would have the document type alias for a blog post in that. What fields you want to look in, so you might want to look in all of your, so the name field, the keywords, like meta keywords, the name, the meta name, the meta description, the content of the page. If you've got a grid, you can look in the content grid. So they're what you can put in the field property aliases. Then you've got the page size, so that is how many items per page you'd like to show. You've got the paging group size, so if you've got 50 pages, maybe you only want to show numbers for, say if you're on page 25, you could show numbers for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and then with first and last and previous and next buttons as well. And then it holds the results as well, if there are any results. The search group, this is the way that you can apply filters. So in the main, you're only really going to have one search group. That's going to be your fields to search in and your search terms. But say if you also wanted to filter it by category as well, that's when you'd add another group to the list of search groups, and that's what makes it add all those extra filters on for you. Search results model, so that's got what you looked for, the list of results. Now I'm returning these back as published content, so but you don't have to, you can return them back as the I examine search result class, and there's just a property to say whether it's got results or not, what page number it's on of the results, how many pages there are, how many total items there are, and then there's a model called the paging bounds model, and this is basically what holds the information about the paging, so that when you come to render out the paging buttons, it's just got this information, it can just loop through them, and it's really easy. We've got the views, so this is the main search template, and the markup on here is for my Bootstrap site. So you can take away some of these things here. You don't need all of these. The main thing you need to make sure you do have, you don't even need this extra little style bit for the head. This is just so that the current page is highlighted in the text of the button, just so it's bold. You've got a render action here for the search form. Just let me check that it's all recording and everything's okay, because this is the third take now. Yeah, so I'm still recording, I'm still streaming, sorry about that. So this is where I'm telling it I want to show the search form, and I'm telling it the fields aliases, the document type aliases as I mentioned, and the field properties here that I want to look in. Then at the bottom there's some scripts. Now this first one here is a reference to jQuery. Now bearing in mind this is on the search template, so it's probably going to inherit from the master template for the site. So you've probably already got jQuery reference on there if you're using it. So I would probably take this line off if you've already got it in your master template. These ones you will need. We'll address this later on. Then you've got this function helps out this one here. Basically this one works out when you stop pressing after 300 milliseconds, then it will submit the search, or if you click on the submit button it will submit the search. You've got the search form, so it's an Ajax form here, and this has got the search text box there, so HTML text box 4, and it's got a search button, and then inside this form as well there's a div with the search results, and it just renders the results there. So that's what, when you get your results back, we've got an update target of search results, that's the ID of this, and it outputs the results into there. So that's what allows you to see all the results instantly from the Ajax call. And then the search results is it just loops through the results in the model. So I'm passing in the search results model. It loops through those results, and first of all it says you've searched for this, you've got so many results. You can call this render paging buttons at the top and at the bottom if you wanted to. I've got a helper here that basically renders out the buttons, and then here for each publish content result in results, and then it just outputs the link with the name of it and the description of the article or page or whatever it is. So you can change what that pulls through. You might have a summary or an introduction or things like that, so you can get that from the content item yourself. So this is just like a head start to help you, because it's quite difficult doing this more advanced searching. So this post, it's taken me a couple of weeks to get together, get the code right, get it to a state where it's reusable for others. So I hope you do find the code useful. Then we've got the search controller. This is just calling several actions. So this is render the form, submit the form, render the results, and these are some helper methods for doing those things. And then we've got the helper class. This is what's got the brains of the whole of all this code. This is what calls the proper Lucene query examine search. So this is the one that you probably don't need to change. You could just have this in there, and it's what you do in the controller or what you pass in on the search template that affects the results. This should be able to just stay as it is. It's just a helper class. Okay then, so let's start implementing that on my mother-in-law's site. So this is the site. So what I need to do first of all is go to the top of the post. I'm just going to start bringing through the models. So if I go into Visual Studio, I'll just collapse all of these so I can see where I am. So we've got models, models there. So I need to create these 4 models. So search view model first. Just put them in with the exact same name as they are there, because they do reference each other. So if the names are different, then it will break. You can change the names if you want, but you'll just need to be aware that you need to fix the naming when it breaks. So I'm just pasting that in. I'm going to use, I'm just going to delete everything in there that was there by default. So I'm just pasting the whole thing in and then hitting save. I'll sort out my namespace afterwards. So that's the first model, and then search group, add a new class, search group .cs, and then just get the code, and as I say, just paste it in. Select all, paste, save. Do the same for this one. I was thinking about doing this as some sort of NuGet package, especially for the models and the helper. So let me know in the comments if you think I should turn it into a NuGet package. I've done a couple of NuGet packages before, so I could probably do it. I just don't know if it's needed. I thought it'd be better to explain to you what the code is doing rather than just do it all for you and you not understand it. You're not really learning much from it. Because the idea of these tutorials is to learn a bit about how to use Umbraco rather than just someone do it for you. So this is a paging bounds model I've already explained. And then we go down to the views. So I'm going to skip the views and I want to do the controller first. So search controller. So if I just right click in controllers, add a class, put the name in .cs, again just copy this, so there we go, copy that controller, search helper, so I need to create myself a helpers folder. And then add another class, and this one's going to be search helper .cs. So I've added all my classes that I needed. I've got the names correct. So I should be able to Control Shift and B and do a build, and there should be no build errors at this point because the namespaces will match up to each other, even though they said codeshare.library and it's not relevant to my project. Now I'm going to put the views in, and then at the end I'm going to do a replace all on the whole project and replace codeshare.library with the namespace for my web project, which is Fiona Whitfield Art. But before I do that, I'm just going to go to the views. So go down to search. So I need to go, actually when I'm creating the views, I want to do this in Umbraco for the template. So if I go to document types and I want to create a template first, so I always do it in this order. So right click on web base, so my master template, and then click on type in search, create that. That's my search template. So I can, if I want to, just paste in this at this point and then hit save. So you can do it in Visual Studio or in Umbraco for this bit. This will basically save that file and Visual Studio will pick it up. So that's the search template, and then I want to create myself a document type within the content folder of my document types. So call it search, and I'm going to use the search icon and the blue colour, and I'm going to associate this with the search template that I just created, and then choose save. I don't need any properties on the document type. It's just only going to be used for searching. I don't want to put any content on it. Then I need to allow the search to be rendered underneath home. So I can just go to the into home document type, permissions, and then add child, search, then hit save. So now I should be able to create the page, search, and then I should be able to save and publish. So that should work. Right, so now I need to go into here, and I just want to click on the web project, reload. That will pull through this template that I added from within Umbraco. And the reason why I add templates in Umbraco and don't create them here first is because templates are associated with the database ID, whereas partial views aren't. So they can be created in Visual Studio or in Umbraco. So I'm going to create the partials from within Visual Studio. So I'm going to do new folder and do search. So there are two partial views, one for the search form and one for the results. So let me just get that. So search form first. So I've created myself a search folder. This isn't everyone's convention, this is mine. So be aware, if you don't want to use the search folder, then just make sure in the controller that you change the path on the get view name and take out search there, because otherwise you might have issues trying to get that view. So in here, in this search folder, partials, I'm going to add a new view. I'm going to call it underscore search form. Create as a partial view and then click on add. So that will create that one for me. I've copied the code so I can just paste that in there and save. Then I'll do another one, a new view, and this will be underscore search results. So I'll just put that in first. Create as a partial view, and then I'll just go and get that code. So at the minute, all I've had to do is just copy and paste and just obviously create items and give them the correct names as to what they are on the blog post. So I've not had to do anything specific for my project yet at all. So Control Shift and S to save all documents. Right, so now I'm going to do Control H to find all, and I'm going to do code share .library. So find codeshare.library and replace it with Fiona Whitfield Art. That's the namespace for my web project. Replace all. Yes, I want it to do it. So it's done 11 occurrences. So now within my whole project, even in the views, it's got them all replaced. So wherever they reference those models and what have you, it's all working correctly now. So I'm going to rebuild the solution. Now the chances are you probably haven't got your project set up to work with Ajax. So if you're just new to it or you've not got very far with it yet, you might just only have it set up just for normal postback form submissions. So I'll just show you that I've done another post, and this is MVC client-side form validation. It allows you to do the Ajax form submit and things like that. So you're going to need, so if you go to the search template that I created, and you'll see, as I was talking about at the beginning, we've got this reference to jQuery here. So I'm going to remove that because I've already got jQuery referenced in my master template. So I don't want two references to jQuery because that will break things. So that's there. And then if you go back to this, you'll also see these references to these jQuery validation, unobtrusive and Ajax files. So you probably don't have these in your project already, but it's really easy to get them into your project. And if you just go onto this, so if you go onto my site and search client in the search box, your first result will be this one. And if you go down to here where it says package manager install, just copy these individually. Go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager Console. That will initialize below, and then you'll have this window. And when you've got the PM and the greater than symbol, you can just paste in that and press enter. That will go off and get the validation script for you. And then you go back and you copy the next line for the Ajax ones, and that will go off and get the Ajax ones for you as well. Now I've already got those in my project. Hit enter, that's done. So what you'll end up then is with all of these jQuery script files, and these paths then will be correct. Now another thing to make sure you don't miss is you need to copy these to app settings, and you want to put them into your config file for the web project in the app settings in here. So this is saying that you want to do unobtrusive validation, client validation, So this is going to allow the Ajax submissions of these forms. So that should be everything that I need. Now the other thing to do as well, before we submit anything and see any results, actually let's have a look. We'll just see. It probably won't return any results. So if we go to here and then refresh. Now in this series I showed you how to do the top navigation, so you should see that the search page comes up in the top navigation. That will be the first sign, because we created the content item and it's under home, so this navigation automatically lists those pages under home. So that'll be the first part of it. So when it's just reloaded, so here we go, we've got a search page. So I've clicked on search. So the layout page master couldn't be found. So that's the first problem you might run into. So if we have a look at mine, so say if we go on home and have a look, it's using the layout of web base, not master. So in my code I've got it as master.cshtml. So I'm just going to save that over there, paste it over that. So now if I refresh on here, it should pull through the correct master template. So that's worked. So that's one of the problems that you might have. So now let's just inspect and see if there are any errors on the page. So if I just right click in some blank area, do inspect, and then go to console. So it's got one error on the page, but that's just saying that it didn't find the fav icon. So I'm not too concerned about that. Now I want to search on the page, so if I just put hello and search, now nothing's coming up. Now I don't know if that's because it's not searching or if it's just not got any results. So if I go to the search results partial, and I've got this here that says if model has results, but I don't have anything to say there are no results. So let's just add that on there, and we'll just say no results to display. So I'm just going to do a p tag and just say no results to display. So now I go back to the page, and then if I search for hello again, I know that it's worked because it's come back with no results to display, so the form has submitted. So that's another good sign. And then if I search for something in the site, so I've got some blog posts here, and if I look for something that's in these titles, so like iPhone or beans, now I've got the results coming through straight away, and I can click through to that and that will take me to those pages. So that's a good sign. So that's all working now then. So I've got the form submitting via Ajax. I've got it auto submitting because of that bit of script on the search template lower down. You might also run into a problem. Let me just create the problem and then show you how to solve it. So where I've got this render section head faults here and render section scripts bottom here, you might not have these on yours. So I'm just going to copy these out and then hit save, and then I'm going to go to the search page again, and then it's going to complain. So you might, when you're implementing this, the following sections have been defined but have not been rendered for the layout page. Head, script, bottom, right. So on my website, one of my latest posts as well, I did a post to support this. If you get this error, then this is just showing you how to solve it. So it means that you need to have something like this on your master template. So it even tells you what template it needs to be. So views web base is saying it needs one for head and one for scripts bottom. So all it's saying it needs is one of these and one of these. And that's because we've attempted to put something in those by doing this section scripts bottom and section head. We're saying put something in the head of the page, put something in the scripts bottom part of the page, and if they're not defined on the master template, then it can't put them on there. So that's how you solve that error. So I assume you're probably going to have that error. So now that I've saved all and then I refresh, you see that that's fixed that as well. So let's also have a look, like, can I search for home? No results to display. So why are there no results? I know I've got a home page in my site, so let's have a look at the search template again, and where I'm calling this action, render action for the search form, this is where I'm passing in the settings. So in theory you could have different search functionalities within your site that search for different things. So the search on my search page, I'll want it to be looking for all different types of documents, but maybe I will have one on my blog section that just looks for blog posts, so I can render the form on there as well. So with this, I've got one looking for blog post. Let's go into the settings, document types, content. So to relate these to it, I need to use the document type alias. So this one here you can see is lowercase b blog post, uppercase P. So that's right, that's why those ones were returning results. I don't have any video posts, so I'm not going to get any results for that. If I want results for home, I can do lowercase home and then save that. So now if I go back on here on the search page, refresh the search page, and then if I put in home, I've come up with a result. So that's now picking up the home page, so that's good. Also, let me just have a look. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I can also tell it what fields to look in. So on my home page, what have I got? Lesser is a creative agency that love to create functional website. So let's just test this out. So where is that defined? So if we go into home, so that's in the intro. And that intro, a quick way to get to the document type is click on home, like that. So intro is inherited from intro controls, but I can see the document type, the field alias for that is lowercase intro. So before I add it on, just see that these are the fields that I want to look in. None of those have got intro. So in theory, if I search for functional now, I won't get any results. So if I just go to search for functional, no results to display. But if I add to the list of fields intro, lowercase, and save that, now if I do a search again and then type in functional, now it's found one result, so it was able to pick it up from that field. So that's explaining how you do that with picking it up from the different fields. So that's pretty straightforward. So let's find something that is in a lot of these. I suppose searching for the word iPhone will be on quite a few. But anyway, so I've explained how you can add the fields in here and where to find the field aliases. One of the other things is the page size and the page grouping size. So I did explain that. So if we go back to the animated GIF, you can see with this, it's got the page size that I've given it is a size of 10, so you'll always see 10 results, and you'll see 3 numbers. So the maximum numbers you'll see is 3. So if we change this one to be 1 and save that, and then if we go to here and just search for iPhone, so you'll see that we've got 3 pages of results, and you see that the first page, which currently on, is bolder. That's to do with the style tag that in the head that I added. So now I can go through the results and using the previous and the next and the first and things like that. So these are individual different results. So that's showing you how the paging works and how that can help you. And as I was saying when I first showed you this, in the search results, if you wanted to, you could move this down to the bottom so that you could see the search results showing after. So if we just search again, so So now the paging numbers are below the results. And again, you could even just have it both. So you might want it above and below. Say if you've got a lot of results on a page, you might want to show them twice. So if I look for beans now, so we've got the numbers, and it's really fast, really efficient searching for you. So that's the paging. I could explain the code in the helpers. Actually, let's just have a quick look in the search helper class. So this get search results. Let's see where this gets called from. So it's in the search controller. So it's in the search controller when it's submitted, but it's also in there when it's rendered. So on the first page load on the get, it does do a search for you as well if it finds that there's a query string with query in it. So like on my site, when I do a search on here, I do, say if I look for Umbraco on my site, that goes off to the search page with a query string of $query equals Umbraco. So on this, with this search functionality that I've given you, you could do where query equals iPhone. That will take you to the search page with that in the query string already. So it's like you just typed it in here. So it renders the results on the get. And then, as I was saying, you can then render results from just typing something in there. So that explains that. So if we go back, so it sets up a new search results model. It adds the term. It gets the current page number from the keys in the page. So if one of those buttons were clicked, that would show up in all the keys on the page. So if it detects that there is one that was pressed, then we know what page number you've requested. This searches using examine to get all of the results, and then this method goes off to say just get the results for this page. So this is where it goes and gets, it just takes a certain amount. So it skips so many and it takes so many. So it might skip the first page of 10 and just take the second page of 10. And then at the end of this, it selects them into an IEnumerable of iPublish content. So basically, you can then use the content for in each result. You've got the published content, so all of the page content for each. You don't have to do this. You could just return minimal. You could make your own little model for search result and just have just like the name, the link, and the description to keep it small. But I just decided to do it this way. I also did start out with using caching, but as it's a really efficient search, there's not really a great need to do a lot of caching on it. You could cache the iPublish content if you wanted to, but it's only getting page sizes as well, so it's not doing a lot all at once. But if you found that it was querying every page, and just bear in mind you could use caching, and I've got a post about how to help you with caching as well. And then this is the bit that actually searches using examine. One thing to note here is that it doesn't show results for any results where they have got Umbraco Navi Hide set. So that is like one of the main conventions in Umbraco. If you have this property on a page, then it will allow you to use the where it visible, or there's a dot is visible and things like that. So this automatically, if you've got this property on the page and it's been set to true, then this search will eliminate those results, because you don't want to see those ones that have been set to hide. Then it just looks through the document types. It adds a condition on to only return results where they've got those document types, and then it looks at your search groups. So, and for every search group, it adds them onto the conditions of it, and that's why you can then start to do filters and filtering by categories as well as the search term. Or if you don't have a search term, you could just filter by categories, if you see what I mean. So that's the main part of it. so then you can just have a look at these yourself, and feel free to edit them because you've got all the source code in the post. So if you're watching it on YouTube, there should be a link to the post on there. If not, go to codeshare.co.uk and just have a look for advanced search or document types. I think that is about it. I don't think there's anything else to explain or tell you. Oh yeah, let me just show you if you did want to implement. So I do have people asking me, oh, how do I search by category and things like that, how do I filter by this? So we've got a method here. So this is the render and this is the post, and both of these get the search groups. So and they're both called get the search groups because they're using the search view model. So on the post in the model, let's just go to this method and I'll just explain it. So this looks for any field property aliases and it picks up these up and they get passed on from the search page. So that is what you've got passed in here, there, and then that gets passed into the controller. If you noticed on the render you had these, that's what you're setting, these different properties. So it gets picked up there and it gets set into the model there. So when you are in here you can check to see if that's got any set. If it has got any set, then you would create a search group for it and you would apply it to the search term that they were looking for. But if it doesn't have any set, then you don't need to. But it's saying you wanted to do a category search, so let's just check time. That's alright. So let's just add a category onto these blog posts actually. So I've got 6 blog posts in my content. If I just go to a blog post, actually I'll do it on my article controls. I'm just going to do a category actually before I do that. So this might take a little bit longer than I hoped, but it will still help you with doing this category search. So I'm going to create a custom data type. It's a new one and I'm just going to call it category picker, or drop down. I'll just keep it simple so it's just one value. So the property editor, I'm going to do a drop down list and then the pre-value. So this is basically what are the values in this drop down list. So this will be phones or food, just because for some reason they said iPhone and beans. So I'll save that. So now we've got that category drop down. We can go to the document type, go into the article controls and we can add a category. So I'll enter the name here, category. Now notice that it's given it a field alias of lowercase category. So choose the category for this post, for this article. Then we'll add an editor and I will reuse the one that I just created, and that was the category picker. I've not spotted it yet. Can you see it? Category drop down, there it is. So I'm going to make it mandatory as well, so all articles have to have a category, and I'm going to save. So now if we go into the content, into the blog posts, you'll see that if you now try and go into that and just hit save, it will complain because that's not been set. So it should go red in a second. It can't be empty, so now we're going to choose. So this one is title is phone, so I'm going to save that. Do the same for the other ones. So let's just get these all set. So I'll set all the ones that say iPhone in them. And then for the ones that say beans in them, I'll set those ones to the food category. Right, so that's all set now. So it shouldn't change anything at the moment. You shouldn't really notice a difference. It's still going to return results. It's not going to be a problem. So if I just still look for iPhone, you know, I'm still getting results for iPhone and what have you. If I look for food, there's nothing. But say if I wanted to show those on the page, I'm just going to have to code something up. You can make this, you can, if you want to, create a drop down which is populated by the data that is in that data type we just created, but for quickness on this post I'm just going to add something to the model. So on the search view model I'm just going to add one called category. So public string category, and then I'm going to put on the view, so on the search form I'm going to have a drop down list. So that's just basically going to be a select with some options. Select, actually I should be able to do, I'll just hard code it in, because no I won't, I'm just too lazy, I am. Not got the code, sod it, I'll just have to do it. So select name equals, so this is going to be category, option value equals, and then so this should be phone. I would normally just look this up and just double check I'm doing it right, but oh no, it's not beans, it's food. Right, so this is me having a go at trying to set this up for you. So that's the value, but I also want the text. Is it the text? Display. What is it for a label? I'll give it a go with the label. So I'll set them both to be the same as each other, the value and the label. I think that's it. Right, so then that one will be food. So now when we submit this form, the whole point of doing this is it will pick up the category that was selected in the form, if there was one selected. So we can then go into the controller and we can say if the search view model, so as we did here, if it's got any property aliases on the model, but I can also say if the category is not null or empty, then create a search group for that. So where we've got this, right, so I'll just say if search groups is not null or is null, I'll just do a check, then I'll just create one. I'll just set it up as a new one, otherwise I can just add to it anyway. So then I'll just do a new search group, so search groups dot add new search group. So the fields to search for this is going to be lowercase category, so I'll do, and it's got to be a string array, even though there's only going to be one in there, it's fine. So I can just do that, new string array, and in here I'll just do category. And then after that I need to tell it what to look for. So what to look for is model.category. So is that right? Can't convert from string to, right, okay. So I need to do another new string like that. Put that in there. So now I've got it, in theory I've got it adding an extra search group by category. So we should be able to just change the category and get the result. So let's have a look. So fingers crossed that I did my markup correctly without looking. If I didn't, I can always just double check, but in theory it should be right. So it didn't work for just searching for phone or food, so I've got an error. So let's just have a look at what my error is. Console. Right, so it's not got anything, so maybe if I just search. So no results to display where that is that. Let's debug into this. Right, so there's obviously a problem when I'm submitting the search, so let's have a look. Ah, right, no, I know what it is. It's not bothering to go off and get any results, and that is because it's not got a search term, so there are no results to display. So what I need to do is say or. Oh, my battery's running low, hang on. So what I need to do now is just to check. Alright, so I need to stop that, and I just need to say if the search term's not empty or the category is not empty. So that should solve it now, hopefully, fingers crossed. Then it's going to go off and it's going to get something. So we'll do search, we'll just reload the page again after I've done that build. And I am streaming this live, first time I'm doing it to Twitch, so if you're watching on Twitch, hello. Sorry I've not got any comments up. I was doing it on live coding with comments and it was just putting me off. So I do apologise if I'm not interacting with you and if that's a bad thing or not. Right, so this isn't getting them and we're getting an error here. So what is the error? Doesn't show me. Okay, so we are getting an error still, even though I'll just have a look at iPhone, not food but phone, and search. No, let's just debug this. So let's find out what's the error. So it's valid. It has got something to look for. The search term is iPhone. Let's go into get search groups. So is it null or empty? Right, so it's going to add its first group. Then it's going to go if the category is not null or empty. If search groups is null, then create one. So it didn't need to create, make it a new one. That's good. And then add new search group. Yeah. Right, so we've got our search groups. And then search results. Let's have a look at search results. So step into that. This is just getting its properties when it's creating that. Okay, in we go. So search results model, search term, page number, or results. So search, use and examine. Let's have a look. So have we got groups? Yes. Have we got aliases? Yeah, we've got a blog post and home to have a look in. Or results, total item count is 0. Let's go back up to that again and just go in. Right, so we're setting up a search criteria. We're saying where they're not hidden. Has it got document types? Yes. Query based on those. Has it got search groups? Yes. So for each search group, so the first search group is the fields to look for and phone. And then the second search group is category, and it's looking for phone as well. So I've made an error in that, so it shouldn't be looking, oh no, it should look for phone actually. What was the first? Let me just shift F11 out of that and let it F11. Right, let me go back in again. My search groups. Is the first one got phone or has it got, no, it's got iPhone. Right, okay, so it's doing the right thing. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not returning that. Okay, well, I'll look into that myself and just see, maybe I've spelt something wrong or done something wrong. I can just have a quick look at the category. So category, food and phones. Oh, okay, so I might be okay. So it might just be an error. When I was setting up the search form, I put phone instead of phones. Well, fingers crossed that might be it. If it is, that is lucky. So we'll just refresh the page and do iPhone. Yes. Oh, thank goodness for that. Oh, you don't know what trouble I've had getting this one ready. It's a really useful one, but so now if I add the category of phone and search, you don't get anything. So hopefully you get why that's relevant, so that I was able to filter those results. I'm not sure why I'm not able to do that, but I'm not too worried about that. I can always look into the controller. You could look into that, but at least this way, when you are searching for something and you apply the category, you will only get this. I'm only getting results for that category. There's probably just something else where to do with the search term being needed as well, so I can have a look into that. But I'm probably going to end this video here. So have a go, let me know what you think of it. Hopefully you'll be able to implement it on yours. The category filtering is not the main thing about this post, this video. The main thing is all about the search and the paging and things like that. We can work the category filtering out separately. I'm not too concerned about that, but yeah, I'm pleased with that. I think it's gone really well this time. So if you are watching on YouTube and you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and if you want to ask me anything, please put it in the comments. I do try and reply to all the comments that I get on YouTube, and I do enjoy reading them. Alright, so thanks again for watching, and I'll be back with some more videos, maybe bonus ones for that series. Alright.